Don't.
Yeah, I got.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
I
is now.
have received it.
Okay. Yes, meeting is being recorded, so let's start. Bismillah. Let's start off with the Surah Fatiha, please. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل نعم المولى ونعم النصير أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلاة وسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد
Allah.
وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين سيما بقية الله الأعظم روحي وأرواح العالمين له الفداء رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. What I want to do from this week onwards is do a mini series with the subject of Islamic education. And inshallah, so that whenever we learn and study or even listen to speeches or gain any bit of knowledge, the whole concept of this knowledge and its utilization and its usefulness could be understood by us. And inshallah, this week I'm traveling, but next week, inshallah, I will be home and we will have an in person meeting from next Sunday onwards. And we will continue the subject. And I was, looking at different subjects to start, and I thought that at beginning, this would be, a very useful subject for us as people who are wanting to learn and to know regarding the knowledge that Allah and Ahlul Bayt have given us. So, first of all, in regards to this, and as an introduction, I will start this off, is that information and the knowledge that we have, um, and we have been learning a lot as years went by. You have listened to many speeches, you have attended many majalis, you have read many books or articles or hadiths, ayat, so many things that we have learned and know for that matter, and we have the knowledge. But you see that a lot of this knowledge that we have is all scattered. It's like all over the place. And that's one of the basic reasons why it's not useful for us. We're not able to utilize it or use it. This knowledge that we have, we really aren't able to utilize this knowledge because it's so scattered, it's everywhere. Because we have all kinds of these pockets of knowledges we gained here and there, and we listened or we heard, but they're like all over the place. It's not just in one place, and hence the information and the knowledge that we have must be categorized and organized for it to be useful. It's like defragmenting your computer hard drive. If you see that the computer is running slow, uh, you defrag the files and you organize the files. And what it does is that it puts all the similar files in uh, its proper place. And what that does is that it makes the computer run faster and it will be more useful for us. So our knowledge needs that defragmentation because it's all spread out and it must be put in proper places for that knowledge to become useful for us. Like, for example, at tasbih, you have all these beads and you have the thread that holds the beads together so that those beads can be useful and can be utilized for different things. Just like that, our knowledge needs to have a common thread, and we need to find that thread that can keep these beads of knowledges together. Now, and for that, we need a goal. The goal of the knowledge is what keeps all of this knowledge find purpose. And without that goal, that purpose, the knowledge is just scattered, it's just spread out, and it won't be useful for us. So, focus comes through identifying the goal. So, the first thing that anyone has to do is organize the knowledge that is in that they have in themselves, and you have you will see that there are many good people who regard themselves as deficient. They're good, but they regard themselves as deficient, inferior. And then you'll see many bad people who regard themselves as good. I mean, people who are capable, you will see, have no self confidence. And sometimes you see people who are incapable, really, they have no talent, but they don't lack mm, confidence. They're booming in confidence. And then you wonder, this person has no um, capability, he has no talent, but he's confident. And on one hand, you have someone who's really talented and really good, but lack the confidence. How does this happen? In fact, the person who has talent should be confident about the talent that he has. And the person who's not talented, he should be the one who is doubtful or lacking confidence. But that happens. The reason is that there is no system or distinction in place. There's no method of analysis, no standard that's in place. Remember a hadith from Imam Ali alayhi salam who says that if a person doesn't accurately know or analyze himself correctly and accurately, meaning when you do self-analysis, and if you cannot analyze yourself and know yourself correctly and accurately, then that person would never find the right thing to do. The reason is because either that person misjudges himself that he's too good, and then he jumps too far and he will fall short. Or a person who is talented and is good, but because he doesn't have confidence in himself, will judge himself and that I'm not that good, and he won't jump that far, and he will do injustice to himself. So either ifrat will happen or tafrit will happen. Extremes take place because we don't know how to accurately analyze ourselves. And this is you can say, a predicament in life, is analyzing ourselves and who we are correctly and accurately. That's how mistakes are made. And when a person doesn't know how to analyze himself, he thinks that he's too good, or he thinks that he's very bad for no reason. And what that does is that now, when you make dua, that dua becomes useless. Or if you're doing istighfar and asking for forgiveness, that istighfar becomes useless because dua You should know what you're asking for. If you're asking for something that is not correct, then the dua is not accepted. It's a invalid dua. Or, for example, if you're doing istighfar, you don't know what you're asking istighfar for. So that istighfar, that asking for forgiveness is useless. It will not be accepted. For example, if I tell you I'm sorry and you ask me, why are you sorry for? So, well, I just don't know. I just felt like saying it. Okay. Your apology is not accepted because you don't even know what you're asking for. So the idea is that first we need to know accurately ourselves in order for like dua to be useful, istighfar to be useful, tawbah to be useful, any sort of um, step that we want to take in life for it to be useful, we need to know ourselves correctly. We wouldn't know the correct questions to ask if we don't know ourselves correctly. So the first step in knowledge is organizing knowledge. And organizing knowledge starts from knowing ourselves. There is a hadith that everyone knows, and you all know also, for sure, is about jihad and nafs. I'm sure you heard this history of the Prophet that the person, after fighting in jihad, in a battle all day long, is tired, wounded, injured, and is coming back to the camp for rest. And when he comes back, he's exhausted, he's injured. And the prophet welcomes him and saying, welcome back from Jihad Az-Zahra, meaning the small battle, to what? Towards Jihad Akbar, the greater battle. So the youngster asks the Prophet that, Ya Rasulullah, I've been out there all day long and I'm injured and wounded and tired and exhausted, risking my life. You call that small jihad? Rasulullah said, yes, that is small jihad. That is, a small struggle. Uh, but the real struggle is that you are going to now fight yourself. You're going to now be in contention with yourself. That is the real battle. And hence the true rising and falling in a person is here in jihad in nafs, in fighting oneself, not in fighting the outward open enemy. This is the real subject of Islamic knowledge. This is where knowledge came from. Something that, as a note, I'm going to say, and then I'm going to come back to this, but just as a tangent to make you all understand this, right? You see, what knowledge do you think Allah gives us? When you say Islamic knowledge, what is Islamic knowledge for? You see, Allah doesn't reveal knowledge or give knowledge about things that we ourselves can gain knowledge, things that we can ourselves deduce and figure out. For example, Allah did not mention how to build a wheel or a car or how to go to the moon or how to fly or any of these things. Or, for example, a lot of things that have to do with medicine, human being, human physiology, whatever it is. Allah did not reveal these things. That why? Because these are things that we ourselves can deduce and investigate and discover and find out. So Allah doesn't reveal things or Allah doesn't give us knowledge about things that we can figure out ourselves. The places where Allah reveals His knowledge or gives us education in are things where we are unable to figure out. We are unable to find out. No matter how much we go through, we will end up making an error. And that knowledge is so important that Allah needs to reveal that knowledge out of His kindness so that we have it. So when we say Islamic education is knowledge that uh, Allah reveals that we cannot figure out ourselves. And if you try to, we will end up making mistakes. And it's so important in our life that we need to know about it. For example, relationships and how to do justice in these relationships. For example, a relationship between husband and wife, a relationship between brothers and sisters, a relationship between friends and neighbors. These are important things for us, and we need to know how to do justice. And if we try to figure these things out through trial and error, we'll be making mistakes and mistakes. So Allah needs to give us a reference point and say that no, this is where the truth is. So you see Islamic knowledge where that comes in. That is where Allah is revealing knowledge. So whenever Allah reveals an ayat or Rasulullah says a hadith, it is about something that we cannot reach a conclusion. Sometimes Allah mentions something that's a fact, which is fine. It's not something that is, we could have figured that ourselves. Allah mentioned it as a fact. But the knowledge that where Allah emphasizes is where He knows we are unable to decipher ourselves. We're unable to do that ourselves. So He gives us the knowledge in that place. So that is known as Islamic knowledge. What is Islamic knowledge? Allah, the knowledge that Allah revealed about issues that we cannot reach a conclusion no matter how much we do research on it. All right, let's send a salawat here. Allahumma salli ala. All right, so jihad in nafs. The Prophet is saying that jihad in nafs, struggling with ourselves, this struggle, that is the real subject of Islamic knowledge. That is what the knowledge is, because we can acquire knowledge about how to fight, uh, I don't know, another army or an enemy that's in the battlefield. But how to fight ourselves, how to control ourselves, how to do justice with our own self, something that no matter how much trial and error we will do, we will fail. And we won't know how to do that. So the real subject of Islamic knowledge is this jihad, the jihad of our nafs. Here is where we need Allah. Allah, we need you to tell us. We need Rasulullah. Ya Rasulullah, we need you to tell us about this subject because this is a subject I don't know how to deal with. No one knows how to deal with. And we don't want to do trial and error because it's just too important to do trial and error on. Yes, it's too important to do experiments on. Let me experiment with myself and with my life. I don't want to do that. No one wants to do that. Every sane person would say, no, I don't want to experiment with myself to see if it works or fails. You see this, how important this is. This is where we need the knowledge from Allah. So all of these people who are trying to figure out, things in their life, it's without a purpose. If you don't have the purpose of this, of doing struggle with your own self, then whatever knowledge you gain, even if it's right, it would still be wrong. Uh, let's see that. You see, this is where you need to see a person. Anyone who has, for example, arrogance, it is the reason he has arrogance is because he made a mistake in this struggle somewhere. Somewhere in the struggle with himself, he made a mistake. It resulted in arrogance and ego, narcissism, right? whatever, subjectiveness, objectiveness, whatever you see, the mistakes, this is not where you judge people. You can't judge people by how much they lie or how much they tell the truth. You don't judge people by how bad their language is or their actions are. You don't judge people by how much humility they have or how much humble they are. You don't judge people by how much arrogant they are or egotistic they are. This is not where people are judged. The place people are judged is in this struggle of theirs with themselves. Where did they make the mistake that that mistake manifested itself in arrogance or in humility, or they did something right where they became humble? This is where we need to be looking and analyzing and trying to look at ourselves like that. Where in the struggle did I make a mistake or did I do good? It could be either way, bad or good. Where now, for example, I am in this situation. Where did I make that mistake that it's manifesting itself in this? Sometimes in bad, sometimes in good also. For example, we did something right in this struggle and it led for us praying on time or being generous. We made a mistake in our struggle somewhere where it led to us becoming stingy and hard-hearted and merciless. So these are just symptoms. The cause is somewhere in the struggle of ours. This jihad in nafs, that is the subject of Islamic knowledge. That's what we are learning for. And if we do not have that goal or purpose, then the knowledge will become useless for us. And not just useless, it becomes detrimental also, harmful, leads to hellfire. Yes. So let me read this hadith of Imam Ali alayhi salam where he says, خُذُوا مِنَ الْعِلْمِ مَا بَدَأَ لَكُمْ. He says, take of knowledge that which is good for you. But he warns us, don't learn knowledge for four reasons. I mean, there are four reasons you should not learn knowledge for. Be careful, because if you learn for these four reasons, then that knowledge becomes poison. Yes, the same knowledge which is good for you becomes poison. Have you seen, for example, good food that is poisonous? Yes, a lot of times you see that because of your circumstance, you see good food becomes rotten, poisonous, that if we eat it, it will be harmful for us. So it's just like knowledge. Knowledge for the wrong reason comes like poison. Even if you're learning about Allah or Ahlul Bayt, you go to a majlis and you read and you learn a hadith that Ahlul Bayt will do shifa. Just this knowledge, which is good knowledge, sometimes will become poisonous and harm us. So if we fall under these four categories. So number one, first reason that Imam Ali mentions, don't learn for this, otherwise your knowledge, no matter if it's about Imam Hussein or Imam Ali, will be poisonous for you. What is that? Number one reason, he says, لِتُبَاهُ بِهِ الْعُلَمَاء, that you learn knowledge to put ulama down. Yes, to make ulama look bad. Scholars who actually learned, you learn a few hadiths and right away you start using those hadiths to put down ulama. You see that a lot of time. For example, someone hears a hadith or riwayat that says that when the Imam will come back, Imam Mahdi, Ajalallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif, when the Imam will come back, he will strike the necks and cut the necks of many ulama. 70,000 ulama, whatever it says, you know? So now you see, now this person heard that hadith and right away he starts using that and say, you see, all you ulama and all these mujtahideen and all these people, their imam is going to cut their necks. He is going to kill them. And you start using that to oppose ulama. Ulama who are, of course, followers of Ahlul Bayt. No. You see, for this, Imam Ali says, this is poison. This knowledge is poison. It will lead you to hellfire away from Ahlul Bayt. No matter how much you cry for Imam Hussein, it doesn't matter now. Because this knowledge you gained, it goes against you. You stood up against ulama. You try to put them down because ulama are the representative of the imams in Ahlul Bayt. The Rasulullah has says, ulama ummati afdalu min anbiya bani Israel. The ulama of my ummat are more afdal, meaning have more fadilat, greatness, than the anbiya of Bani Israel. It's a big deal. Anbiya are masoom. These are not masoom. But they have the responsibilities of masoomi. Imagine how much they are trying to do to make sure that the path of Ahlul Bayt is learned, is clear, and is clarified for the world. And the example is clarified for the world. How much they're doing, even though they're not masoom. They have this big responsibility on their shoulders. So anyone who does that, Imam Ali is saying that knowledge will become poisonous. That is number one. Second, he says, the second reason you should not learn or you should not gain knowledge for is tomorrow bihi Tomorrow bihi is to wrangle with the foolish. There are many people that are foolish. And the idea is that don't argue with foolish people. Foolish, ignorant people like that. Imam Ali himself says that every time I try to debate with an ignorant person, I lost the debate. I am Babu Madinat al Ilm, and I lost the munazara with every ignorant person. Whenever you have a debate, munazara with an ignorant person, even Imam Ali loses that. Because with an ignorant person, you can't win. But if you try to wrangle with them just because you heard something else, listen, you're going to get hurt. You are going to get hurt. So, for example, if you learned about Ghadir, if you learned that Imam Ali was the wali of Allah and the successor of the Prophet, you gain this knowledge, and then you go back and start arguing with people who don't know and start wrangling with them and wrestling with them just because you gained a few ayat and hadith and you know the truth about that, it's not going to work. And that's what happens with these many of these zakirin. They learn a few things and then they go and they start to make fun of the sufaha. You're not going to win. No one wins against ignorant people. No one wins against foolish people. It's like throwing stones in mud. The mud's not getting hurt, but the mud is going to fly and make you dirty. That's what happens. Imam Ali says that if you are learning for this reason, so that you can go and argue with the foolish and the ignorant people or those who don't know, this is not divine. This is not from Allah or Ahlul Bayt. This is from Shaitan. Shaitan is making you do that. That is not what the intention of this knowledge that Allah sent is meant for. Allah didn't send knowledge for this reason, right? The subject of the knowledge is something else. We believe in wilayat and imamat for something else because it is necessary, it is a requirement for our growth. It is our lifeblood. Wilayat and Ahlul Bayt are our lifeblood for our faith and our akhirat, for us being on the path of success. It's not meant that we just use them as a club to beat up people uh, who don't know them. That's not the reason why that knowledge is meant for. So that's number two. Second reason why you should not learn. And you don't learn for this reason, otherwise, this knowledge, which is useful and is necessary, will become poisonous for you. All right, third reason. Tura'o bihi fil majalis. To show off in the public. Yes, I learned so that I can show off in the public to let them know how good I am. I have knowledge. I am able to show off now. I am able to do so. What it does is that it ruins this riyah. It's like shirk. You're not doing it for Allah. Now you're doing it for people. A lot of people, they do that. They go and learn knowledge. They learn hadith. They learn this so that whenever they come, they can then speak out in a gathering to show others, you see, I am knowledgeable, and gain respect out of that. Imam Ali says that if you do it for this reason, then that knowledge is useless for you. It will become detrimental for you, poisonous. It will harm you. The knowledge wasn't meant for that. It was meant for this jihad in nafs. And now you're using it to do riyah. You're doing the opposite. It's an oxymoron, meaning that you're doing it for the opposite reason and purpose. So it has no benefit. So this is the third reason that you should not learn. And the last reason he says, أو تصرفوا وجوه الناس إليكم لترؤوس. He says that some people learn religion in order that they might uh, have leadership amongst the people, so that the people look up to them as leaders, right? You see that a lot of people, for example, just because they have knowledge, they want to become leaders, and they want to make sure people know that I am the leader of this group or something like that. And if that is your intention to lead the people, then it's dangerous. It is poisonous. And this knowledge will become useless and, in fact, detrimental. It will bring about hellfire. So, knowledge that was very useful has ended up becoming useless for such a person. Becoming a leader is not the purpose of knowledge. No marja wants to be a marja that, oh, yes, I'm going to be a marja and people are going to follow me and all the homes is going to come to me now. No one has that intention. It's a responsibility that is given to them, and they take it with so much caution that they're like scared of this, right? And you go to any look in the history of all the Maraja, they're not interested in anything. Our Maraja never had the chance to go to even Hajj. Many of them, like for example, I remember Ayatollah Marashi Najafi, he was a marja of his time. So much khums used to come to him. Millions of dollars of khums used to come to him. He never went for Hajj one time because he wasn't mustati. He wasn't rich enough to go. The money that he has is not his. He can't use it for his Hajj. That's the Imam's money. That's an amanat. He has to use it for the Imam's work, not so that he can run his family and, run his house and all these things. That is a wrong idea. So no one has that intention of leading people so that they can become leaders. That is the wrong intention. If leadership, there's no such thing as leadership like that. It is a burden. If someone takes a burden, because the real leader is Imam Masoom, he's in ghaib. So right now, if there is responsibility to be taken, it's taken with a lot of caution and with a lot of care as an amana on behalf of the Imam. If I sit on the member and I'm speaking from the member, this is not my privilege or right that, yes, I can speak. No, the member belongs to Rasulullah. The member belongs who Imam Zaman. This is just me taking it as an amanat in the ghaibat of the Imam, that to further his mission in order that uh, his work is done. And when he comes back, he takes it back. This is his position. And this is the reason, this is the intention of learning. The subject of Islamic knowledge is what? Is jihadun nafs, fighting ourselves, correcting ourselves, making ourselves better. And if we learn knowledge for a different purpose, then that knowledge is useless. So, this is an introduction to Islamic knowledge and Islamic education, the first of its lectures. So inshallah, we will go through more of what needs to be said and done, inshallah, in the upcoming weeks. Inshallah, we'll go through it. Inshallah, it will be helpful for us in learning and knowing how Islamic knowledge works. Wa وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. I will open the floor for questions. Anyone who has questions, please go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. It's me again. You mentioned the steps in gaining knowledge to be useful. First one you said organized knowledge or consolidate knowledge.
Right.
What was the second one? Analysis of ourselves?
Yes, accurately judging ourselves.
Okay. Was there a third one, or that you just stopped at these two?
Now, the third one is knowing the subject, which comes under that, and which is the subject of Islamic knowledge, is jihadun nafs. That is the reason why Allah sent us knowledge, because this is one field that we don't know how to live our life, meaning with ourselves, and of course, with us in relationship to others, even the dunya, even the world, even things. For example, my cup, I should do justice with my cup, right? I should do justice with the risk Allah has given me. So all of these things, I need to know how I have to do. So this is all jihad and nafs. And that's where Allah sent knowledge for that reason. Because, this is something that we don't learn through, let's say, research of our own. We won't be able to learn that. Other things we learn on ourselves, like medicine, like chemistry, like biology, these are things we can learn ourselves. So Allah doesn't need to give us knowledge about that. But about ourselves, we need to know this, because that's where we will never be able to learn. And Allah, out of His kindness, has revealed knowledge. And when we say Islamic knowledge, that's what we are referring to. Ayat and Hadith are about jihadun nafs.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Any other questions? So this is recorded, so we can pass it on to people. Next week, inshallah, when I come there, we will go on this subject as a mini series of Islamic knowledge, and inshallah, move forward.
Do you normally repeat first 5 minutes or so of the previous lecture?
Yes, I
So
will
that we
do
can,
that
so that
next
we
week.
can understand the
Yes, yes,
continuity. Okay, thank you.
exactly. The people who
I
come there will
I
mention
will
that.
be missing the lecture next week or even after that, because I'm going to be in Chicago for the conference.
Mhm.
And so inshallah, if I get a chance, I'll see if I can access the thing here, your
Recording,
presentation. If not, then I'll get a recorded one.
inshallah, no
All right.
problem.
Jazakallah khair.
We will miss you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I'll miss you too. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaykum salam. All right, everyone, we will end here, inshallah. Let's read the dua of Imam Zamana, and we will end our Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma kun li waliyaka al-Hujjat ibn al-Hasan, salawatuka alayhi wa ala aba'i, fi hadhihi sa'a wa fi kulli sa'a. وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك ضوءا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم صل
اللهم
على
صل على محمد وعلى محمد. Okay.
Is there anything else? All right, that's it. Alhamdulillah.